A new discussions interface has been released for Canvas. This is what the old discussion interface looked like, and it should be pretty familiar to most people who use discussions. It's looked like this for nearly a decade. And what we can see here is there's publication controls, edit controls, group information here at the top, and if we scroll down past the instructions, we'll actually see some things like the search bar, unread, some sort of threading controls, as well as the reply button right here. So what I'm going to do is go through the major interface differences, particularly for instructors in this video, and then I'll show you the way that some of the other features in the update look as well. So what we can see here, we'll start with the top here. So there's a published button that shows up right here. It's pretty big. In the new interface, we don't have that anymore. Let me scroll up here. What we have instead is a checkbox with a little green circle. It's a lot smaller. So that may sort of not be as noticeable. The next thing that we have over here in the old interface is the edit button. In the new interface, you'll notice that there is no edit button here at all. What you're looking for is going to be under the More Options button, and you click on that, and then you select Edit from that drop-down menu. So that can be a little disorienting as well. The next thing that we have over here is More Options. All of the rest of these options are available over in the new discussions area, including adding a rubric from here, getting into SpeedGrader, deleting the discussion right here. All of those things are right there. The next thing that we come to, going down the page, we see a due date flag here, and the due date will show up in your new discussion as well. Here, there's no due date. It's assigned to everyone. If we had multiple due dates or differentiated due dates, those would show up here in a list as well in the new interface. But here we also have groups. So we can get to the groups, and they are detailed out right here. In the new interface, I'm going to go to a different example here. You will see there is no group information here. I can look at differentiated due dates if I need to. They kind of fly out here on the right-hand side. But here is where the groups live. So in the old interface, they were visible. They were right there in a blue block at the top. In the new interface, they are actually under a little button here that is just an icon. So it may be hard to find at first. But once you do, you click on it, you can actually see how many unread responses are in those groups. You can click on them and go right to the group discussion, just like you could in the old interface. They're just tucked away behind this button in the upper left-hand corner. The next thing that we're going to do is now scroll down in the old interface to look at some of the other options that we would have in terms of interacting with the discussion. So these controls here, like search, only show unread, show the deleted post, expand threads, and collapse threads. Those buttons are now all the way up at the top here. We have, here's the search bar, here's the filter by all or unread. Here are the expand threads. If I expand it, I can also collapse it. You can see that bar just kind of opened up. I can also collapse all those threads. This button, though, is new, and it is a split screen button. And right now, the default for discussions is to show these discussions threaded. And they look like this, and the threads are flat, just like they were in the old interface. Like they're flattened out, they aren't expanded. It's pretty normal. I can expand these threads out and just see all of the threading right here. You'll notice some @ mentions here. We'll get to those in just a second and why those pop up. But we can see here are the responses. Look, teachers are actually flagged. That's kind of cool. So I can, I can expand those, but that expansion is up here all the way at the top. It doesn't float the way it did in the old interface. The other way that I can view discussion responses is in split screen, and this is really new and very different, but might be helpful, might be useful for you. So if I hit the View Split Screen button, now I'm going to get split screen responses. So to take a look at that, I scroll down here to these responses, and I can see it looks basically the same. The difference is going to happen when I click this Replies link. And I get this flyout on the side that shows me this thread. And I can see I've got 4 replies, but all it's showing me is the first level of reply. right? So, and it's faded out here. I have to go down here to view the additional replies. Click this. Now it's going to take me deeper in. The app used to behaves like this in discussions as well, where it kind of drills through the levels. Or the old app did. This interface is deployed in the app as well, so you will see that. It's kind of interesting here because we do have like full-sized body text here, and then this is about 85% of this size, so it's a little smaller. You'll see that in the app as well. It's not my favorite choice in the world because as I get older, I need the font to be bigger, and it's not responding to my device settings, it's just staying small. So that's something that you kind of have to deal with, unfortunately. Right now, I'm not using the phone app as much, and I'm using my desktop app, the desktop browser version much more frequently. But anyway, so if you scroll down, you'll see, like, here's a reply thread, here's a reply to the reply, right? And then when you reply to this reply, so you don't get further threads to drill down into, what happens when you make this reply is you immediately get an at mention that pops up here. At mentions can be used at any level, but they pop in automatically here at this level. So if I were to reply to this student post here, it would say, hey, at Tom Student, right? And this is keyed to notifications and notification preferences that come outside of the system. I really like this option, particularly as a teacher. I enjoy this that a student could just at mention me in their response, and it would send me an immediate message, because that's how I have my at mention replies or at mention notifications turned on to tell me immediately. So I know to go in and look. In the past, if a student just said my name in a discussion, it wouldn't notify me, and sometimes I'd miss it. This is actually kind of a nice way for a student to kind of raise the flag and let you know that they need your help, or to really target a reply. So I like this a lot as a new feature. But the split screen it takes a little getting used to. I am still using the threaded. I prefer that. So that's just kind of what I'm doing. And when you do open the threads, you'll see right here, this is kind of interesting. It doesn't scroll down to show you the replies. Nothing looks like it's happened when you click on it unless you have this scrolled up and you can see. So that may also throw people, just because the interface doesn't scroll things up so you can see what's going on the page. But yeah, you can just use threaded. That's what I'm doing right now. I might get into the split screen later. One other thing that I want to mention here before we get into the actual assignment settings and stuff in the discussion is the sort button. This sort button, it's showing newest first. Let me just collapse all the threads here and I'll show you what's going on. So this posting was posted at 9:02, and then this one was at 9:09, and then this one was at 9:06. Now, why, if I'm asking for newest first, why is the one that was posted at 9:02 here on the top? Well, because there was a reply at 9:11 a.m. and it's buried down in the threads, but it's going to push this top level post to the top of the list. And then I've got 9:09 here, and then I've got 9:06. So technically the original post of 9:02, like, I would expect it to be down at the very bottom. It's just not. And if it's based on the most recent activity in the thread. And if you flip it around and do oldest first, to me this is actually more confusing, because now I'm getting 9:06, 9:09, and then 9:02 with 9:11, and it just doesn't work with my brain for some reason. So that is the basic interface stuff. Oh yeah, subscribing. Let's talk about subscribing really quickly. I'm going to come back over here and show you in, not this one, I think it's this one. Yeah, there used to be a big subscribe button here, as long as it wasn't a group discussion. So just regular discussions, no groups. This subscribe button is right here, and I can click it. There's also a subscribe bookmark in the discussions index back over here, where you can click that as a teacher and subscribe to discussions from the index. But in the new interface, and this is a groups one, so it won't even show you the option to subscribe on a group discussion at all. The subscribe button is actually right here. It's this little bookmark. Same as what was in the discussions index. Now it's here. There's no big subscribe button down at the bottom. The reply button looks very different as well, like I showed you this before. So here's the reply button in the old discussions. Here's what the reply button looks like in the new discussions. And that blue color is a default color. That's just the way they have it set up in the interface. And I don't believe that we can style that to any sort of different color. It's just going to stay blue like that. Finally, let's take a look at assignment settings. Again, to edit a discussion, or whether it's an assignment or not, you have to click this More Options link and then click the menu or the Edit link. And now we're in here. Okay, and we have some anonymous discussion options. I can't do anything with this because this one's already started, but if I wanted to allow students to post anonymously, I could do that, where students can choose to reveal their names in profile pictures or not, or have it be like an enforced anonymity where everything is hidden. You can do that. That's kind of cool. You'll note that the threaded checkbox is gone because there is no option for threaded or focused discussions anymore. It's all just that sort of 3 levels of threading and then rolling to @ mentions. That is just the way it is now. There are no options in that regard. It is just set that way. The only other thing that I can think of, actually there are no other things here. That is it. Those are the main differences, like in terms of settings. There's no threaded, and then you get anonymous discussion options as well. So, big changes in terms of the experience for instructors, particularly because the edit button has been moved, how to access group discussions has been moved. Those aren't really relevant for your students, so that's good, but it is a little disorienting at first. We are turning this on right now in time for the summer term, and we're doing that so that it doesn't get forced on by Instructure on July 20th in the middle of our instructional term. So we're doing that now, and you will be able to see the new interface as of Friday, July 5th. If you have any questions, please let us know. elearning@rtc.edu, or file a help desk ticket and we will get that and we will help clarify any issues you might have. I apologize for the length of this video, but there are just a lot of moving parts to this interface change, and I did want to cover it as quickly as I could. The fastest way for me to do that is just by recording me demonstrating it. There are discussion board help guides in the Canvas guides, both for the new interface and the old interface. They're both there. The old interface stuff will obviously come down as of July 20th. Please be aware of links to any support resources that you may have provided to your students and any sort of screenshots or anything like that where the interface may have changed and it may just look very different for them. You may need to update some stuff in that regard if you aren't using Canvas guides specifically. So I hope this helps to prepare you for this change. Again, let us know if you have any questions or if we can help with anything.